you and let me know who you are and where you're from. And I do have a couple questions that were sent in today, so I'll make sure to share those. But first, I'll just share a little bit about how we work and what we'll be doing today. So first, I'm going to be picking a card for the week, a card that just sort of shows the space that wants to be held by us, perhaps by the collective at this time, and what can we really open to and be held for in this space and this time. And then from there, we'll open into any questions that you may have or that some of my clients and friends may have sent in for me. So here we go. I think for our card for the week today, I want to pull one of the Ascended Masters cards from Doreen Virtue. I've been pulling some of the Ascended Master Crystal cards recently. And today I just really want something very simple and very clear and what can come through that can truly support us through this week, through these times. I don't know about you, but it's been quite challenging for me. I've had just so much chaos, right? Chaos all around. And I think that is really reflective of the collective times. So I'm just going to start by shuffling my cards. All right. Just seeing if anything comes up here. I'm just really holding space for anyone who watches this broadcast, this tarot need to know at this time. What can support us as we flow through the week to come. Interesting. So it's the card of El Moria, and it's clear and shield your energy. Oh my God, this feels so like potent for me right now. I don't know about you, but this is a card about coming into center, and it's about doing what you can to be in an embodied state so that you don't take on the chaos that's around you. You don't take on the energy. You don't take on the stuff, right? Like that's getting in your field and bringing you out from who you need to be. Hi, Al Jones. Nice to see you. And so how can we come into a place where we feel connected, where we feel grounded, even when life is swirling around us? And life can be other people and other people's energies. It can be the collective of what's going on, perhaps politically right now, can be our own internal world, right? Or just like I haven't felt great the last week, right? So it can be like, oh, I don't feel great. I feel sort of sick, right? Like, what is it that's sort of pulling us or holding that energy in that space? And so, Lemuria, when you pull this card, it is really telling us the number one thing that we need to do, and I think as a collective, this would serve us all, is to come into a deeper and more embodied state and do what we can to support our nervous systems and then to create a shield of light around us. For those of you that subscribe to my channel, if you look through some of my Qigong, I think it'll be in meditations or the Qigong. So wonderful Wei Qi field meditation, where we learn how to bring in white light, blue light, and pink light to support our fields and bring us into greater balance. Great way to shield and balance our energy. Another opportunity would be working with creating a beam of light around us and then placing roses out in front of us. And as you do that, that too can also hold a space to ground and shield the energy and bring us into a space of center. I think I have a meditation of that under my meditations called the Rose Centering Meditation. So I think that's telling us don't expect things to be calm and peaceful, but instead, how can we find center and how can we come into center with the truth of what is? I'm also feeling called for the collective to draw a Gene Keys card today. The Gene Keys are one of my favorite modalities of learning and healing. And I'm not going to go into great depth on the card. I instead maybe just want us to look at the picture and then work with the key gift of this card. Okay. So one thing that will support us through these next few weeks. Oh, Beautiful. It's a card I know well. Freshness. And the energy is one. And this is really allowing ourselves to open to both the brightness and the freshness of life. I know, since I know this card well, I'm going to go a little bit more into it. It's really important. So this card to me speaks of the pure creativity of spirit. Just even like look at the card and get a transmission from the being, this beautiful being that's here. But it's really about allowing life to move through you and allowing it to experience self in a fresh, new, and creative way. It's not about fitting into a box. It's not fitting into a mold. It's instead allowing you with each breath, each expression, and each experience to be this pure, creative, divine force of life and beauty. It's powerful. It's connected to our G center and our heart and the level, our soul heart. And it's giving us that space to fully feel the radiance of who we are. The important thing to know with this card, though, is that we have to allow ourselves to go to the deep spaces of darkness and rest. And so I really encourage you, if you notice that you're pushing or forging, you're trying to create, you're trying to move ahead, I'm going to invite you to give yourself the permission to soften, to settle, to let go and let yourself go into deep rest. Don't make yourself go to the places that you're not ready to go, or don't push yourself forward instead of giving yourself to go down deep into the earth. The freshness and the beauty that wants to come through you and then wants to come through us all, it can't come unless we take deep rest. It can't come until we allow ourselves to ride the wave of the energy down and to rest in the darkness. So maybe there's also some emotions that are really difficult right now. Maybe there's some things that are really hard right now. Give yourself permission to sink in there, to feel them, to like cover yourself up in those blankets, right? And to be like, oh, I want to be held. And as we give ourselves that permission to go to those holding spaces, what can blossom and what can flow forth. And that's where the gifts come from. It's not from like, okay, I'm going to be fresh, I'm going to be beautiful, I'm going to be alive, I'm going to just be radiant. That radiance comes when we release, we soften, and we settle. We go in the darkness, and then the seed can be born. So I think it's really important. These two cards are both beautiful. It's how do we protect our body and our energy field? How can we shield ourselves? And from there, where can we take the rest that we need to so that life can flow and move through us? And it's really about being that expression of life. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful week ahead. And probably some chaos around. So how do we stay strong and shine radiant in our light? So I see that there's a few people here. I want to give the opportunity to have you ask any questions you may have. Feel free to write them in the chat box. You can say your name if you want. You can say where you're from. You don't have to. And if you just want to listen in, I can definitely share some of the questions that were given to me from clients and friends. But first, I'll give you that opportunity. Okay. Well, as I give you time, I'm going to start with one of the first questions that came through. This is from Kingsley in Nashville. And Kingsley had asked me to share the question of what can I do or what do I need to know to support my family's nervous system at this time? What can I do or what do I need to know to support my family's nervous system at this time? And so I'm feeling drawn. I'm going to draw a few cards here. I think the first card is going to be from the Ascended Masters deck again. Okay. Hmm. And this card is Nurture Yourself, Mother Mary. It's one of my favorite cards. I just love it. Like you can just feel that tenderness and that sweetness and the energy of the Divine Mother coming in. So the first thing that comes into me for Kingsley, because it's someone I know well, it's calling on the Divine Mother and calling on the divine energy of Divine Mother in all her forms and forces to bring you the support that you need and the support that your family needs it right now. You can ask for her help for you and for all of them. And then the other thing is not just for you, but it starts with you, is nourishing yourself. And then doing what you can to support your family to nourish themselves. How can you come to a space of peace and groundedness in your system so that you can be at a space of greater nourishment for them? And I think Mother Mary's bringing in the energy in the form of allow them also that space and time. Ask them, what can they have? What do they need to nourish themselves? So beautiful. We'll also call in the energy of some herbal cards. These are beautiful herbal cards from Maya Tawari, or not Maya Tawari, Maya Toll, sorry. Maya Tawari is an Ayurvedic healer. Maya Toll is an American herbalist. Okay. Okay. This is another beautiful card. I'm trying to bring it up close. It's Starflower. And this too is about nourishment. So Starflower is borage. And borage is this beautiful card that shows up in the garden like organically everywhere. And it's sort of like prickly a little bit on its leaves, not in a bad way. And it's got these beautiful flowers that are so sweet to eat. The words in the card are finding grace. And this to me is all, again, it goes right along with Mother Mary, is nourish the systems. And how can you nourish the nervous systems? In particular, borage nourishes the adrenal glands. So how do we bring that energy down? And how can we find grace and open to softness in the moment? And so that's just, again, a reminder again, like how can we bring the energy down? How can we support the energy that is present and there and not be swept up in anything that's taking you out of the body? I'm a slowing down and noticing things around, being in nature, giving time and attention to deep rest, excuse me, and giving yourself the permission to soothe and to soften. I would say if there's any borage in your garden, go on and eat it. And I'm gonna pick one more card. And this card is from the Crystal Mandala Oracle. It's working with Ascended Masters. And I will be sending Kingsley the ritual that comes with this card. But what comes through? What does Kingsley most need to know to nourish his family? Or to help support his family's nervous system? Yes, you can, Brenda. I'd love to give you a general. You'll be next up. And so this card is Storm Wisdom. It's Angel Raziel and Pediasite. And I don't even think I've ever drawn this card before. And so I'm going to be really curious to find out about it a little bit more. But to me, it's the wisdom and the reminder that you're in the storm right now. The Pederosite, it's not a crystal I'm familiar with, but it looks like it's got some purples and browns in it, as well as beautiful red. And then when we look at Archangel Raziel, he's really here to support us through big shift and change. And so what comes to me with this is this energy of there is wisdom through the storm, this storm that you're in right now, and this energy that you're in right now, it's leading to a greater good and a greater space and a bigger space. And to give yourself that permission to trust in the process, to be in it, to allow the chaos to continue and to unfold, all while nurturing yourself, right? It comes back to that first card I pulled, clear and protect boundaries, right? That we all need right now. And from here, everything will come to light when the time is right. You're just in the center of that storm right now. So beautiful. And I will be sending, with these crystal mandala, there are rituals I can send with it, and I'll be sending that to him. So it's lovely to have you, Brenda, with us. I'd love it if you're curious or if you want to share where you're from, feel free to share where you're from. I will do a general reading for you. I think I'm going to pick 3 or 4 cards for you. And the first card I'm going to pick is just from Doreen Virtue's Ascended Masters cards. And then I'm going to open into some more traditional tarot cards for you, okay? Hi, lovely to have you with us. I love Wyoming. It's so beautiful out there. I haven't been, so when I was a child, I was in Montana recently, but not Wyoming. But amazing, amazing place. So what does Brenda most need to know right now? So yoga, Baba G. So you might be like, yoga? I don't do any yoga. What are you talking about? It might mean that you do have yoga and your practice is gonna be really nourishing for you right now. But what this card really means is an overview for the month or is a space for the month. It has nothing to do with physical yoga, really. It's how do you bring yourself to center and how do you find that space? So to me, what comes to is routine or the things that bring you into a space of center. In Wyoming, it might be starting to go for walks outside, taking in the nature around you. Or what is it that brings you into center? So for some people, it's meditation, yoga, qigong. For other people, it might be writing. It might be going for a run or doing some exercise, cooking a nice meal every day. So what you're being asked to do right now is to come into a space of center and to come into an embodied space, especially if you just moved here, there, right? Like, what's it like to find your home in your new home? And what are the things that are going to bring you closer into that connection and into that place with spirit? That connection in that place where your body, your heart, your soul are one. And so giving yourself that permission and the time to really tune in and to check in to what is it like that's going to bring me home into self. And usually I would say with some routine. So it might be something you dedicate yourself to for a week. I'm going to write in my journal every day for a week, or I'm going to go for a walk every day for a week. But something that's like, oh yes, this feels so good. Okay, this brings me home. Okay. And so these next cards I'll use, I'm going to pull a few for you. It's a Rider-Waite traditional deck. I've been using it for about 29 years. We'll just see what comes through. So I'm just going to take a moment. What do we most need? What does Brenda most need to know right now? What does Brenda most need to know right now? So I'm going to pull a few cards. Oh, you're in a great space. That's all I'm going to say. These changes are really good for you. We're going to stop there. Actually, we'll keep going till we get the major arcana. So I pulled quite a few cards here, and I'm just going to go through them one by one. So you've been through a big journey, and this journey may or may not have involved water. In Wyoming, probably not too much water unless you came from Europe or something like that. But this journey has been much bigger. So you're moving there for a bigger reason. And part of the reason that you've been brought to Wyoming is to do some much, much deeper healing. On some level, you are letting go of who you've been, and you're coming into a new state of being. And the first thing that's happening is a lot of what you've been grieving or have been looking towards changing and shifting, it's going to start to fall away. This is the Three of Swords, and Three of Swords in reverse. It's all about that. Like you can see, the swords can't stay in, they're going to come out. So you've been in through pain. You've perhaps, because of some of the other cards I saw, been in a relationship that's been painful or been challenging. Doesn't have to be with a loved one, or some situation that's been challenging. And hi, Nettie. Yep, you can have a reading in a second. I'm so glad people are joining in. And so in this, the energy is going to start to move and the swords are going to start to fall out. You're going to start to come into a place of greater peace and happiness. Okay. And then we've also got here, we've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So you've felt on your own and you have felt like you have had to do it yourself. Everything has been a struggle, right? No one's helping you. It's like no one gets it. No, like you just feel like it's just everything's been so hard. And now you're in a place where it's like, okay, that can start to shift. That warmth from that window, again, this is in reverse, is going to start to shine out. There's going to be help for you, or at least help from spirit. It may come from people, it may not. But greater sense of community, greater connections, and everything that's been going wrong. I don't want to say all of a sudden you're going to be in glorious light. There's still some challenge to come. There's still pieces to come, but you're going to be in a place of greater healing and ability to accept it, right? To come into like, oh my God, I can breathe. Everything's okay. We do have the Ace of Cups in reverse. And so in reverse, it means that, so Ace of Cups can do with relationships, it can do loves, it can do with emotions, it can do with creativity. In reverse, it doesn't mean nothing's going to happen or that bad things are going to happen, but things are going to be slow there. And what's coming to me here is, again, if there have been challenges with a relationship, if there's shifts in a relationship that you've left behind, not that it's going to continue to challenge you, but there's a slow healing and a slow process that's happening. There might be a desire or a sense of like, can I get this to work? Can I get this to come back together, right? And the answer is like, well, do you really want to, right? And is it slow? Yep, we have Nettie first and then Rafa. You can go after Nettie goes, okay? And then we pull the next card. And so there's a part of you that's going to continue to be on edge, a part of you that's continued to not trust. Again, this is more with the past life. This card came up with several readings last week. And it's more with your past than in the future. Things are good. You are in a stable space now, especially in the next month as things start to like unwind and unfold. But there's still those pieces of the healing that are happening. If there is a past relationship or something coming in, it will come. You'll see it. And so know that there will be, like, you're coming from a more grounded place, but that part of you is still on ground. No, the first three cards were very good. The movement, the falling out of the sword, so a healing is happening, and then more light coming into you instead of the challenge of it all. You've just been moving through a big change. I'm the last card I don't want to scare you with, because it looks bad. But then the last card is very positive, and I'll go over them very briefly for you again in a second. So then we have the 10, which is death. This does not mean physical death, okay? And so this death is all about what you've still been holding on to and the pieces that you're still holding on to and that are still feeling stuck, okay? So there's going to be a total clearing away of that, so that like all those swords that were falling out of the heart, like it's truly done. And then when we finish with that, we have the sun, and the sun is a major arcana, right? And so the major arcana is saying light, friendship, happiness, hope, connection, being in these greater spaces and these greater flows. And so what I would encourage you to do is to know, so what this speaks to me, and I'll speak this all up, you're in a healing process. You've made a big move. And in this move, you've moved from a shift from where you were at to where you really need to go into this deeper space, okay? In this process, and this is where you are now, things are falling out. This is a positive card. The pain, the challenge, it might not feel positive all the time because there's still some grieving happening, but it's shifting. It's an opportunity to be like, oh, I can let that go. You have been out in the cold. You're not out in the cold anymore. There's shift and there's more coming in, and there's more happening for you that's positive, okay? This is saying this would be more negative or more hard. This is saying that has passed. Ace of Cups in reverse is saying it's going to take some time. Give it some time, and don't try to grasp or hold on to what was. Because there's a fear there, right? Like there's a fear. What wasn't good. Is it going to be okay? Is it going to work out? Is it going to be this? Everything's good. Look at the fullness of the trees behind you. You're almost at fruition. And what's happening is a total shift. It's like, as you shift into this new world, this new space, it's like, okay, I can let go of those pieces that did not serve. And this is like the end of that, right? The old, and it's the end of something you don't want. It's the end of something that's not healthy for you. And then with it comes the fullness and the fulfillment of the sun and the energy of the sun, feeling like life is good, feeling hope, feeling happiness, feeling connection. And this will happen soon. This I feel like is a very soon thing by the fall. Okay. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to follow my page if you like. I'd love it. I do this every Tuesday, and you can always come and ask a question. Okay. So Nettie, did you have a specific question, or do you want me just to do a general reading for you? You're welcome, Brenda. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Money. Okay, money and abundance. Okay. What does Nettie, and Nettie, where are you from? Where do you live? If you mind putting that in the chat box, that would be great. Okay. What does Nettie need to do for her financial prosperity? First, let me clear these cards. Okay. What does Nettie need to do for financial prosperity? Oh, wonderful. I used to live in British Columbia, Canada. So beautiful. I've never been there. Okay. What does Nettie need to do for financial prosperity? Or what does she need to know? So I'm going to start with 3 cards. Sometimes I'll pull more, as I did for Brenda, if it's needed. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to pull 4 cards for you. So this might sound sort of hokey and sort of hippy dippy, but it's a lot about connecting with your intuition. You've got 2 major arcana cards framing 1 money card and 1 card that has to do with a lot of wellness. And when I closed my eyes and just sort of thanked the guides and angels and called them in for you, the sense I got was it's all there. Like, and it's so easy for me that it say it's all there right now in the collective. Right now, things are very hard, very challenging. Prosperity wise, a lot is changing around things. And especially if we are more creative or more intuitive, it's like, how do we open to that greater field? Like, spirit can be great, but where is that prosperity of money? And yet it really is about you owning and standing in your own power. The first major arcana I got is this moon card. And with this moon card, it brings up the fear. It shows the fear of the money, right? Because it's the new moon and the full moon. And the new moon, the light is hidden. And so when that light is hidden, there can be a lack of trust, a fear, and anxiety. Don't really know. Can I trust in myself? Can I trust in my gifts? What do I do? My sense is you're probably very intuitive or creative or both, right? A mix of those. And that you don't necessarily fit into the mainstream or in the mainstream the way that the money wants to come, right? You don't want to go, well, maybe you do have to go and get a regular 9-to-5 job, but that's not where your heart lies and not in what you want to do. And so this card is really speaking about coming into your truth, your intuition, your power, knowing that you do have the gifts and that there is flow there for you as you open to it. Now, what do you do to open to it, right? Because that was your second card, is the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. Now, this is a great card in reverse because right side up, it's saying you're holding on too tight and there's going to be this constriction and continued constriction about money. When it's in reverse and it's saying, oh, you can let go. Like, stop holding on too tightly and start opening yourself up to that flow of prosperity. So there's a couple things that are coming through. And again, for whatever reason, I'm getting more like alternative things to offer to you. I'm thinking like doing a little ceremony by water. I know you're probably by the ocean if you're in Nova Scotia. Halifax for sure. I don't know if you have river there, but going out to the river and like putting your fears or putting the places that you're holding tightly to things on paper and then like sending it out, maybe lighting it on fire, sending it out to the water and letting it be reborn. Another thing would be calling in on the energy of the divine goddess Lakshmi, and perhaps doing some Lakshmi chants. And that's something you can look on the internet. I might on my YouTube site have a Lakshmi chant if you look at the different mantras that I've done and shared, and just really opening up into the blessings of flow. You probably may already be doing things like this, right? But it's not going to come from holding on. It's about coming from like, oh, I can have it. And so another things that comes through very clearly with me around that is that don't limit yourself from doing things you enjoy because you think you can't afford it. So if something's calling you forth, and I'm not saying getting pizza or like, going out to eat every night. I'm talking about like, oh my God, there's a musical event I really want to go see, or there's this healer I really want to see, or there's a, something that's going to help me create like art supplies or whatever. Don't limit yourself from it if it's a real calling, and give yourself that permission to open to it. The third card is the Four of Wands in reverse. And with the Four of Wands in reverse, it's really good both ways. So right side up, it's like, oh my God, happy family life in nature, property, you're doing great. In reverse, it's like, okay, maybe it's not that easy, but it's coming. There is a space where you're going to be able to take that exhale and open to that space of like, I do love where I live. Again, if you're in a space you don't like so much, it might be finding a space that's more resonant for you, where there is abundance, there is ability to create, and there is flow. Now, in reverse, this takes a little bit more time. It's asking you to open to trust, but it's still there for you. And then the star is the final card. And this card is like the wish card. It's like all your wishes come true. And to me, it's about connecting with earth and connecting with heaven. It's about allowing yourself to open up to the true potential and trusting. So prayers, again, prayers in any form are great. Getting into the water and then getting into your body and then opening up for the higher alignment that wants to come through you, asking for help from your guides and angels, opening to greater space. And this is really saying it's there for you. It's close. And I'm sorry, I don't want to say I'm sorry, but like I know sometimes when I get readings, I'm like, but I want to know exactly what to do, right? Like I want to know like what this is. But like what it is like it's there. You're in a process right now. It will open for you. And don't sacrifice your integrity for the bigger picture. So if you do need to get a job, if you do need to do something, or if you have a job you don't like and you're just doing the day to day, like do it. Like I'm not telling you to quit your job or not to do what you have to do to survive, but hold true to that light of desire of what you want to see opening and happening for you, of what wants to be created for you, because it's there and it's coming. And with that will become a big release. So I hope that makes sense and helps. And yeah, feel free to follow my page if you like. I'm here every Tuesday at 2. Okay, great. Yeah, you're welcome, Nettie. Okay, and so I'm going to just read your cards, Rafa. And if you want to say where you're from, Rafa, it's lovely to have you with us. Or not your cards, but your question first. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Okay. Okay. Great. I'll answer that. So first of all, I'm really sorry, Rafa, for all you've gone through. It's beautiful to have you with us. And uh, um, it's a lot. And it's a lot when it's, again, out of your power, both within her choice, but then especially when her family got involved. So I just want to take a moment, and I want to just sit for a moment and just see what cards want to be used here. Okay, so I'm going to pull again. I'm going to pull one card, and then I'm going to perhaps pull 3 more. If it's more than 3, I'll let you know. Okay. The first cards I'm going to work with are power cards, and these are Crystal Mandala Oracle. Those who have been on have already seen one of them. And I'm just wanting to see if there's anything that Rafa needs right now, anything at all that can support him through this time, through this uncertainty of his love and his relationship, or her, sorry, if you're a girl, their relationship. Okay. Yeah, Danielle, I'd love to read for you next. What does Rafa need to know right now? Ah, it's one of my favorite ones. So Rafa, this is a big one. And this is not answering your question. This is more for you. This card is Daring Rebirth. And this is Goddess Ishtar, who's an Egyptian goddess, and Astrophyllite. And this card is saying that this is a time for you as you move through this fire, this pain, this uncertainty, and all this. It's really an opportunity for you and an option for you to open into something bigger. And so one of the things I'm going to invite you to do is to really take time to go into the fear, to go into the anger, to go into the uncertainty, and to allow it to be a gateway to you to open into a greater understanding and awakening in yourself. It's hard to explain. I've pulled this card a lot in my life, but you're going through a period of growth, whether you end up with your girlfriend or not, and we'll check in with that in a second. We're going through a period of growth where this is offering you an opportunity to really get to know who you are better. And I know that it's not easy, right? I know it's very hard. Daring rebirth is not easy. It's like everything you thought you had has been burned, right? And so then like, who are you, right? Like, and how do you move forward? And it's like knowing that there is more for you, and whether you stay together or not, you're going to come into greater alignment and greater power with yourself. Okay. So now I'm going to just clear these cards really quick. I'm going to work with the Rider-Waite cards again. About Kalani. Okay. And so the question you had is Kalani coming back to Rafa? Are they over? What information can you give us about Kalani and Rafa? Any communication, anything at all? Okay. Okay, I've got 4 cards for you. So I do think you'll hear from her. I don't know if it means that you're going to get back together. So the first card that comes up is the Queen of Wands in reverse. And I think this is Kalani right now. She's in a period of a lot of not knowing. So it doesn't mean that she doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that she has, totally bought her parents' story or anything like that. But she's like, she's got an allegiance to her family probably. And then she's also like, had to be separated from you and like doesn't know what's best, right? She doesn't know what to do. Queen of Wands, when it's right side up, is very fiery, very alive, very creative, very beautiful, very, I'm sure, she's probably a very powerful, very bright being, right? And in reverse, she's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am. I don't know what to think, right? And so I think in that space of that, she's just going through a lot of her own process right now, even with the Instagram stuff or doing those different things, right? Like she might be like looking to see what's out there. She might not, but she just doesn't know. She's just in a place of not knowing. And then we do have the Page of Cups, which means messenger, right? And it usually means a message coming towards you and coming towards you soon. And when I first pulled this card, I was like, oh, it could be from someone else. There could be another love interest on the horizon or something like that as well. But with the further cards, I think it is going to be from Kalani. I think you'll get a message from her and you'll get something coming from her that's going to give you more clarity on what's going to happen and what's going to flow forth. And my sense is with the cards that are coming, and I don't like to write things in stone. I really want to be clear about this. Anything can still happen. But I sense in the things coming, she's going to say probably that she needs more space or more time. In more time, maybe not more space, more time. Because the next card that I pulled was the Six of Wands in reverse. And Six of Wands right side up would be like, oh my God, everything's awesome. Like I've won. Like, yeah, I feel good. And in reverse, it's sort of like, oh my God, don't feel great. Like I feel like I'm stuck. I'm at a standstill. I don't know where things are going really right now, right? And so I think there is sort of a holding back, and my sense is it's going to be something about needing more space or more time. Because the next card that comes is the Hermit. And this is a major arcana card. And this is a card, again, about really going inward and being on yourself. Now, noticing there's no Lovers card in reverse here. There's no Two of Cups in reverse. There's no like swords through the heart, anything like that. But it's speaking of a time for you of introspection, of having to go through and look at your own emotions and stuff, similar to the card I picked of Daring Rebirth. And this space of really going into a sense of moving through your own feelings in your own process. And part of my sense is that you have had so much love and so much focus on Kalani, right? And on your connection, because it is very, very strong, was very, very strong. And so this is going to be a time again for you to focus on yourself and your space. I did pull a couple cards after that, and it's sort of unclear what's going to happen next. So I want to stop with the major arcana. But so my sense is she's going through a lot, and you will hear from her, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you guys are going to get back together right away, or there's going to be a huge shift in flow in that way. And instead, it's going to be a time for you to be able to do some deeper reflection. And so just know I'm going to send you so much love and just hold space for that healing and that nourishment. And wishing you as much peace as possible, knowing that it's part of your bigger process. And it's wonderful to have you with us. Feel free to follow my page if you like. I'm here every Tuesday, and I'll be offering astrology and weekly updates, channel updates soon too. All right. So I think I'll do, oh, thank you, Rafa. So I think I'm gonna do one more reading today, and this reading will be for Danielle. Hello, Danielle. It's lovely to have you with us. If you feel like typing in the chat box where you're from, that would be great. And if you have any specific questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box. Otherwise, I'll just do a general reading for what can most support you at this time. And I'll give you a moment to be with that as I clear the cards. All right. Okay. And wonderful. I have a dear, sweet friend who lives in Devon. It's United Kingdom. It's just such a beautiful place. Spent a lot of time there. Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to start with one of these Ascended Masters cards. I've been enjoying working with them today. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sacred place, Devon. Oh, I'm getting shivers actually when I say that. Okay, so the first card is just what does Danielle need right now for support? What can both bring her help and healing? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I might take a moment and tune in. I can't promise, but I might take a moment and tune in and just get a sense of anything from them. So number one, retreat into nature. So powerful, such a powerful card, so powerful to be with. And so that's number one. It's like get into nature. I love this. This is the Green Man. The way he shows up for me sometimes without the cards when I'm working with my clients is he comes into a place where he's just this ancient, old, grounded energy and just filled with so much love. And love is the word, just like unconditional love. And so the number one thing is to know you are held, and going into nature or connecting in nature with trees, especially if you're able to, it's going to be really, really powerful. The earth, especially earth and trees. So water's good. I'm a water person. I love water, but the earth is where you're going to really find that solace. And to connect. And, depending on your relative that passed as well, like Devon is such a beautiful natural place. It's like calling on and asking to feel them there. If you want to connect with them, might also be really powerful place to do that, is in the forest. Now I'm going to pull, I'm just trying to think what other cards I want to pull. I'm going to pull an herbal card next. This is for Danielle. And again, just looking for support first, and then I'll pull a couple of more traditional tarot cards. Oh, this is beautiful. So this is one of my favorite cards, and I don't necessarily like the words on it don't necessarily resonate with me as much as the card and the energy of the plants. So this is lavender, and it's tough love. So it's tough love in the sense that you lost someone very dear to you, but it's got this tiger energy, right? I'm a tiger. I'm in the year of the tiger. And then we just were in the year of the tiger, and tigers are these powerful energies that are letting you know that you can get through anything, right? And that you are supported. In Qigong, I'm a Qigong therapist as well. The white tiger is what really supports the lungs, and it also supports us in the time of grief. And so really bringing in the energy of the white tiger and calling in on the white tiger, even envisioning it or putting a picture up can be very helpful and supportive. And then we have the energy of lavender, right? So this is all about nourishing the nervous system and coming into a place where you are supported. So lavender supports, I think, mostly is when we see it in nature, and then when we can breathe in its scent. It's lovely as a tea, it's lovely in honey, but it's more like, where can you bring in the scents? Where can you bring in the energy to come in to soothe you and to nourish you and to connect with that? So some lavender essential oil might be very helpful for you, or calling in on the energy of, like, again, getting out into nature, going to a nursery, getting a lavender plant. And, I'm trying to remember what she wrote in the book about the tough love. I've looked at it a lot, but it really is, again, about like, again, feeling grounded and opening into your strength, opening into the space where you can like take things in through all your senses. And I think the number one thing that comes to me around the card today is the tiger, calling in on the white tiger and that energy of the white tiger. So I'm going to pick 3 cards here. And there might be a few more, just anything that you need to support you at this time. And when I separate the cards, I'll just tune in to your relative. So I'm not getting too much. I'm getting a little bit. The number one thing, and I know this is not, I won't say it's going to be hard to hear, but it shouldn't be hard to hear, but your relative is very much at peace. And actually the first feeling that came through me when I connected with their essence was joy. They are free right now from suffering. They are free right now from pain, and they are free and open into a space of expanded, I would say, unity. And then they showed me a picture or an image of the stars, right? And the canvas of the stars. And so they're saying, whenever you want to connect with them, go out and look at the stars, and they're going to be out there. So you see a shooting star, or there's a star that calls to you in particular, that would be a really powerful place to connect with them. They are well, they are at peace, they have crossed through the boundary. And something that's coming is like there might have been some unfinished business or feeling of unfinished business, not necessarily with you, but for them. And so they're saying it was finished. Everything that needed to happen did happen and was completed in that space. And so if there's any worries for that person, or that they were in the middle of something, or that there was more they needed to do or finish, that they actually did come to a place of completion and realize what they did need to realize in this lifetime. Okay. So I'm just going to pull a couple cards. Oh, beautiful. Okay, and we're going to leave it there just with 3 cards. So the first card is judgment. And this makes me, especially because we're talking about a relative who's passed, it's like rising up from the dead, right? Like it's going from a place where there's been holding, and Archangel Gabriel is saying, the time is now, and you are at peace, you've passed. So this too really speaks of your relative being at peace, everything being at peace, everything being okay there. And this also speaks it for you. It's like and this is where water does come in. Maybe go dunk yourself in the water. But where it's like you don't have to hold on to any guilt. You don't have to hold on to anything. You were so loved. You did everything that you needed to do. And it's time for you now. And the time will come, right? Like it just happened. You don't have to worry about it, but for you to rise again. And there is a sense of with the shifting or the shift with your relative or this death, it's going to bring a lot forward to you. And it's going to actually bring you a lot into centered power and centered awareness. We had this card in reverse in the last reading. And this is all about owning power and coming into your power. So there's something within this relationship that you had, wasn't holding you back. It was what you needed. But sometimes maybe you would sacrifice at times, or you would want to be a certain way or want to please in a certain way. And it's sort of like with the shift, there's a release of that, and there's a sense of empowerment coming to you, and a sense of connection coming to you, and peace coming to you. Now, with grief, it takes time, right? So I feel like you're going to find this power very soon, and yet you're not going to be grounded in it very soon. It takes time, right? It really does take time. So trust the process and allow the process. And part of that process is going to be temperance in reverse, which is feeling. So temperance is all about balance. And so major arcana cards, it's like bigger stuff. It's like, this is what life wants you to learn, right? And so in temperance, when it's in reverse, it's like, it's hard to find your balance. It's hard to know what way to go. It's hard to like find the peace, right? Or to find the ground, or it's like, I'm good. No, I'm not. And so again, that has a lot to do with the process of grieving and the process of the shifting, because my sense is this person was quite important to you in your life, right? And like there was attachment, there was connection there with them, there was being, it was important. And part of who you were was in relationship to them. And so it's going to take time to find your footing. So my encouragement to you is to come back to the heart whenever you can, come back to center whenever you can, find your ground, find your peace, and know that you can move from there. All is well, all will be well, but to know that it is going to be wavy for a little bit, and that's okay. Okay. So I hope that helps a little bit and makes some sense. And I'm sending you so much love. Um, and yeah. Yeah, she's so at peace. Like I'm getting shivers. Like the first thing I got was joy, and that she's gone into that expansive space. Like she's not hanging around. Like she's like, no, I'm with the stars. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you everyone so much for joining. Feel free to follow my YouTube page if you like. I'm here every Tuesday. Usually do about 45 minutes to an hour is what it's been. Sometimes it'd be less, but hours where I cap it. And yeah, I'll be doing some astrology readings, some more things like that. I want to do weekly channeled readings coming in the months up ahead. So yeah, love to see you all and wishing you the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. So much love and namaste. Bye. Okay.